What's up? Welcome back to another video here on Ruby's Rings. Today, we're going to be doing another episode of Jesus, Java, and Jewelry. I've really been trying to think about how I wanted to do my Jesus, Java, and Jewelry videos. I'm not really happy with how those are. So I decided that I would kind of make them a little bit different and have them be more like a vlog style video. I wanted to take you guys with me somewhere, go get coffee. Either we do it inside or outside in my car. Probably in my car for the first couple of videos because I don't think I can do that. Having like a little bit of a Bible discussion, and I'm gonna show you either jewelry stack of the day, what I'm wearing in the day, or I'm gonna show you like what I've been working on. So we're gonna be going to Leaf and Bean. I live in Newnan, Georgia. Leaf and Bean is downtown Newnan. It's like this insanely busy coffee shop. It's always busy. Anyways, we're here now. Let's go. We're back. So I got orange bitters, which is like a mocha orange flavored mocha orange mocha thing. So good. Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, so we have our Bible, we have some coffee. Let's get into it. Literally already filmed this entire thing and it wasn't like recording. So I have the camera facing me now, and I know you're not supposed to do that for quality reasons, but I need to make sure it's filming me. I'm not about to do that again. So once I get a camera that I can actually see what I'm filming, like with the flip screen thing, we'll be doing it that way. But for now, we're gonna be filming from my phone so I can see what I'm doing. So for our Jesus, Java, and Jewelry, we're gonna start off with jewelry, and that would be a jewelry stack. I have a promise ring that my dad gave me. It's emerald. I have a gold band that was like a regular band that I ended up hammering flat into my size so I could wear it with this one. I have our 5-ball ring, my first wax casted ring ever. I have a wax casted signet ring. It's already scratched up pretty bad. Diamond dewdrops pendant, which is a gold diamond pendant, and then amethyst chain, east to west set. And then I got these earrings from an online auction site. They're just like regular. They're diamond studs. I don't have any toe rings or anklets to show you, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't show you because you guys are weird. Go ahead and get into our Bible discussion for the day. So this is a sermon that my pastor went over a little bit ago. So he went through 1 John, and it was 1 John chapter 2 verses 15 through 17. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever. So we essentially went through the, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So if you're so concerned about the things of the world, chances are you don't have the love of the Father in you. Meaning, if you're so concerned about going to the next party, or when you're next going to get drunk, when you're going to see your friends next, when you're going to do this next, when you're going to become famous, when you're doing this, that's consuming you so much more than what the will of the Father is for you. And if you're not concerned about letting God work in your life and allowing God to be like, do his will in your life, Lord, if this is what you want it to do, leave the door open or close the door. Let it be for you. Let it be what you want to happen. Like allow it to be your will versus my own. And if it is my own will, shut the door type of thing. If you're not concerned about that at all, then chances are the love of the Father is not in you. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. We went through all of these different things, and I'm going to really dive in depth what it means to me personally and how it might relate to you. For the first one, the lust of the flesh. These are the notes that I took during church. Lust of the flesh is physical pleasure. The main one that was talked about was sexual sins, but ones that I wrote down that really kind of popped up in my head was alcoholism, drinking, partying, smoking, sex, anything like that, anything that's really a worldly thing to do. Sexual sins obviously would be, corn, things with yourself that is lustful actions that you do upon yourself when you're in a mood. You know what I mean? Yeah, sexual sins, alcoholism, anything that the desires of your flesh are craving that you're allowing to be satisfied. Gluttony, that's something I've always struggled with. And gluttony doesn't even have to be about food. It can be over the binging of TV shows, the overconsumption of TikTok or social media. When you're so gorging over something and you're so obsessed with it, you're binging it, you're gorging over it, you're completely consumed by it. That's the best way I could really describe it. For me, it is pertaining to food, but also social media intake. I will doom scroll for hours and hours and hours and hours. I will go in with the right intentions where I'm ooh, I need to find a trending sound for a TikTok or an Instagram video that I need to make, or what's a good trend that's going on right now that I can film. I've tried getting my food intake down and under control, but it's now become my social media intake. But the best way to fight it is to starve it out. Obviously, if it's gluttony, you want to starve out the sugar. You want to starve out the food, the junk food. If it's sexual temptation, you want to starve it out. You don't want to be on your phone late at night. You don't want to, you want to set up parameters on your phone to where it doesn't allow you to go on to corn, whatever. I want to giggle every time I say that, but whatever. There's certain parameters that you have to set up and boundaries you have to set up to starve it out. But starving it out is the best way to do it, because let's say it is sugar that you are so lustful for, and you're a sugar addict, which is something that I struggle with too. So don't feel bad if that is you. But the best way to stop it is to starve it out, because even though there's a couple 3, 4, 5, maybe 2 weeks where you're so craving it so badly and it's so on your mind constantly. It's an obsession type of thing. It turns into that lust for sugar or lust for, physical lustful activities, if you know what I mean. When you're going through the process of trying to cut it out, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and it's going to consume you and overwhelm you, but then it starts to die down. That's what happens when you try to cut out sugar. You crave it so bad for a couple of days, and then it dies out and you don't crave it anymore. And that's what happens with lustful things as well. You cut it out for so long, it grows weaker and dies. The lust of it dies. So the best way to fight that kind of thing is to starve it out. And then even in the Bible, the lust of the flesh and, lustful things, that's a sexual lust, we're supposed to flee from it. You're not even supposed to do anything with it. So again, the best way to do that is to starve it out, because then you're fleeing from it and you're getting away from it, and inherently that would be starving it out. The next one was the lust of the eyes. That includes items, materialistic things, eye candy. Eye candy can mean people. That's usually probably what you hear it about. But another example would be trucks. You're driving down the street and you're a car girl or a car guy, and you're so caught up in this truck you pass by and you're freaking out. You're oh my gosh, I have to have it. I have to have it. I have to have it. For me, it's jewelry. Obviously, I feel like that's pretty obvious. For me, jewelry is my eye candy. I will scroll on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and I'll see jewelers making jewelry or just pieces of finished jewelry, and I'm wow, I have to have that. I need that. I have to have that tool. I have to be able to do that skill. I have to have it. I have to have it. I have to have it. And it is a coveting nature that we put on ourselves, and it turns into a need, not a want, when it is just a want, but we feel it so deeply that it becomes a need. So the pride of life is the next one, and that is the desire for achievement, for status. God resists the proud and exalts those that are humble. Influencers are too concerned about their status. Seek his fulfillment, not from worldly things. It is all temporary, and we chase the worldly lusts. He that does the will of God abides forever. Be concerned over his will, his plan, his desires over your own and the world's. We should live for God, as that's what's going to go with us in the end. It's all for a matter of time. Everything has a shelf life. Everything is temporary. So, example for this, think of someone you used to watch on YouTube or on TV and try to think of their name. One of the ones that I had to really think about was Liza Koshy. That's her name. When I filmed this earlier and it didn't like actually record, it was Liza Koshy. That's her name. She dated David Dobrik. That was someone I used to watch a long time ago. And I just remembered her name. And that was like probably 30 minutes ago that I was thinking about it. She was a pretty famous person, yet she's not really around much anymore. So another one would be Lily Singh, or I don't know, just examples of people that like you think about every now and then, but like they were famous for a time and that time was short and they're not anymore. Or they were famous for their entire life, and once they pass, generations will continue to pass. They're no longer really mentioned or brought up. They're not really a concern anymore. Everything has a shelf life. Everything is temporary. Pride of life is a desire for achievement or status. So this would include, wanting to be a famous YouTuber. I remember when I still watch Emma Chamberlain, but I remember when I was in like 9th grade, I think is when I started watching Emma Chamberlain. I was so obsessed with her, literally so obsessed with her. I'd watch her videos over and over and over again. I tried to have the same sense of humor, the same style. I'm sure every girl my age did too. Like literally everyone was obsessed with her. And oh my gosh, I was so obsessed with her. Another example was Seven Supergirls, Kaylin. I used to love watching her, and that was way before Emma Chamberlain that I watched her. But I wanted to start a YouTube channel because of her. Like I've wanted to start a YouTube channel since then. But I never had like a thing that I was like, ooh, I can do this and be famous from it, or ooh, I can do this and be famous from it, because that was always my motive when I wanted to do it. And now my motive is to spread the word of God. My motive is to share my jewelry. My motive is not necessarily for my own doing anymore. I've turned it for God. And so I now started it because I had the right motives to do it. And that was something I struggled with, and I still kind of struggle with it. I mean, I feel like everyone wants to blow up and be famous. It makes life easier. You don't have to work. I mean, you'd be an influencer doing that as your job, but it's not like a 9-to-5 job, things like that. It would make your life easier, but again, your life here is only temporary. So for me, I would always be so freaking obsessed with Emma Chamberlain and the Dolan twins and everything like that, and I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be a YouTuber. I wanted to do this and that. Thank God I never started YouTube then when I wasn't saved. And I'm glad I never started then, and I have the background that I do now where I'm saved and I am trying to do it for God versus for my own doing and for my own personal achievements. But I feel like everyone wants to be an influencer. Everyone wants to be famous. Everyone wants that status of life and that pride of life. And that can be a good thing. An example, like if you're a famous person and you're talking about God and what God's done for you, obviously that's good for the kingdom. But an example was this famous football player that put eye chalk of like a certain verse on his face or something like that, or on his helmet or something. This is very vague. This is not like, I'm not saying this correctly at all. This guy did like eye chalk on his face for a while, I think, and he was like a football player and he was famous. And he did like a Bible verse on his eye chalk. And he said that one day he felt the need to put John 3:16 instead of, I think it was like he put Ephesians something on his face. I'll look up the article, I promise. I'll put it on the screen or something, or link it in the description below. But he put eye chalk on his face, and he felt like God was telling him to put John 3:16 on his face. And so he did, and it was reported like all these people gave their life to Christ because they saw this Bible verse, and they read the Bible verse and were like, oh, I can be saved this way, because it's John 3:16 is essentially explaining how we can get saved and how God gave his only begotten son so that we might be saved. So that's an example of a good reason why God uses people's achievement and statuses and can put you in a place of being a famous person, because it spreads his name, spreads his glory, and brings those to the kingdom. So that is an example of it being a good thing. But when you're going in with the wrong motives, can be a bad thing. You know, like if you're going in just to be famous because you want to make money and you don't want to work anymore and, you know, you just want to have the time of your life, that's obviously not a good reason to do it. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. So when it comes to the pride of life, for me, you know, I've always had that struggle where I've been like, oh, it would be fantastic to be famous. Like, who doesn't want that? But now that I've like gotten to the point in my faith where it's not necessarily about the fame aspect, it's about spreading the word of God. And if I can do that through my channel, and if I can do that through my jewelry, then I'm gonna do it. Because, you know, if God gives me this platform, then I'm gonna use it for him. If God gives me the ability to make jewelry, then I'm gonna do it for him. If God gives me the ability to quit my job and go on mission trips for the rest of my life, I'm gonna do it for God. The things we have are meant to be used for God, not to be our God. So we're gonna end on this note while we discuss this, because it's very, very good note. So this specific topic, this is like the reason I turned my business to like a means of ministry, and why I started this YouTube channel, and why I've done all this to, you know, that's why I'm doing this. God gives us talents and abilities and items in our life to be used for him. And an example for that would be my jewelry. An example for that would be my YouTube channel that I created. The fact that he's giving me the ability to do this, and, you know, allowing me to do this, giving me the ability, because he's giving me the ability in this platform, I'm going to use it for him. Back then, if I started, it would have only been about like worldly things and, you know, whatever, because I wasn't saved then. And it would have only been about wanting to be famous and getting to a high status. But for me now, I realize that I have this platform, I have access to use this platform for his glory, so I'm gonna do it for that. So when I started this YouTube channel, and when I officially started my business on Shopify, and like got like all my business records and documents and whatnot, and got it to be like an official business, I decided that I wanted it to be for Christ. Like, I wanted to do this as a means of ministry, as a means of worship. I didn't want it to just be about me, because I knew that would not be fulfilling, and I knew that that would be just a road to destruction, and it would probably tear down my business in anyway, because I'd be so obsessed with it. God would probably take it away from me, because it, you know, it became my God versus God being God. When it comes to that, it got to a point where I really had to do some thinking. And one of the ways that I really wanted to turn my business to a means of ministry was that I donated a portion of proceeds to a ministry in need. So every purchase done through Ruru's rings, or anything relating to my jewelry or my art or craft or whatever, any purchase made like from me that's pertaining my world of arts and everything, a portion of proceeds would be donated to a ministry in need. Right now, that's Street Hope, Tennessee. I've discussed this a couple of times in videos prior. It is a ministry that helps those that were sexually assaulted and sexually trafficked and things like that, and gives them a home, and then also teaches them about Christ and gives them a new hope about life. They're wonderful. The one that I support is the one in Tennessee. It's Street Hope, Tennessee. But I love their mission. I love what they do, and I've always had a connection to them, because I used to live in Tennessee, and I used to go to Calvary Chapel, Knoxville, and they also supported them. And the school that I went to, which was Grace Christian Academy, also supported them. And so I heard about them a lot in my childhood, and so it was always kind of on my mind that if I did ever do something for a ministry, it would be that one. And when I thought about like how I can turn my business to a means of ministry and to a means of worship, and use my business as a platform for God and to spread his name and his glory, that was the first thing that came to mind. So that was one of the things I did. Another thing is that when I create jewelry or do any type of creation or art or anything, I listen to worship music, or I pray, or I listen to sermons, or I do things that glorify God versus glorifies my flesh and glorifies what I'm doing, versus like an example would be like watching YouTube all day long and binging a TV show while I'm doing jewelry, which I still do. I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but for me, I always felt better, and it felt like it was more of a worship time. It felt more of like a time for worship when I did listen to worship music, or did listen to a sermon, and just have God on the forefront of my mind while I'm creating jewelry. Another example, I tithe from my jewelry business. So any amount of money that I make, I also tithe along with the donation to the ministry. And just, I knew that when I started this YouTube channel, I wanted to do this also as like a Bible, faith-based channel as well. I didn't want it to just be jewelry. Of course, that's like the main focus because that's like, you know, what I do. But I wanted to also bring light to Jesus' name, and I wanted to bring light to God doing this and having this channel. And that's exactly why we're here right now, and you're watching this now, hopefully. You know, that's like what the whole point of this channel is. It's obviously a means of like sharing that I make jewelry, you know, that I make jewelry that you can buy. I guess like a marketing of the jewelry that I make, so that if you see something you're like, ooh, I really like that, I'd love to buy one, I have a website type of thing, like a marketing type of thing. But I also wanted it to be a means of ministry. I also wanted it to be where I spread the name of God and Christ through my YouTube channel. Literally everything that I do, I've said this before in many videos, but everything that I do, it needs to be for the glory of God. I'm driving home now. Hopefully the camera footage won't be so insanely shaky, but I have to go potty really bad. So I'm going home. I hope you enjoyed this video of Jesus, Java, and Jewelry vlog edition. I'm definitely going to be doing this again because this was a lot of fun. So hopefully I can film more vlog style videos. I really like the vlog style videos. I feel like obviously because, you know, I grew up watching Emma Chamberlain. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you do feel so inclined. Let me know if there's any type of video ideas you want to see from me. Okay, I'm at a red light. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you do feel so inclined. And leave any prayer requests in the comments down below and I'll be praying for you. I will see you guys when I see you next. Love you guys. God bless you. Bye. Mwah.